Welcome back to the Digital Nomad World weekly series. I'm Becky and I'll be your host. And today we're going to be talking about taking your first workcation in Portugal with my guest, Joana Gloria. Joanna, welcome to the show.
Hola, Becky. Thank you for your invitation to be part of this podcast.
And thank you for joining us. I'm really interested to learn more about Workations because I've actually never taken one myself. So I think the viewers are going to be really interested in this. But Joanna, first, before we begin, can you tell us about your background and how you started working with digital nomads in Lagos, Portugal?
So my background is hospitality. I have a degree in hotel management. I had 2 guest houses in the past for 4 years. And then there was a time that I was traveling a lot and I was kind of feeling that the business was prison because when you have a business with a door open to guests, you feel that you have to be more present. And I have friends all over the world and family as well. So I travel quite a lot. And I decided that I wanted to work from a computer. By that time, I didn't know that I wanted to become a digital nomad. So then it came, I launched a digital platform called Eat at a Locals, where tourists go to locals' house to have Portuguese food experiences with the families. And then the pandemic came and Joanna was trying to understand what to do next. And one day in the summer, someone asked me if I still had the guest houses because there were many digital nomads coming to Lagos. And I said, okay, I don't have the guest houses, but I can help other people to get clients because in that time, everything was uncertain due to the pandemic. No one would know that if it would be a good summer, if there were people traveling or not. So that's how I started the Lagos Digital Nomads community.
That's amazing. So what kind of things do you do together with the Lagos Digital Nomad community?
So I had no experience. I never created a community. I've never been into a digital nomads community myself. So I was going step by step. I started to organize meetups. And then it was funny because that time I could only have 10 people at a time on a meetup because of the restrictions on the tables. So that's when I started to think, okay, there's more people that want to join. I need to organize other kind of events so I can have more, to give the chance to people to join also the events. And then I started to organize thematic dinners, talks, workshops, networking events. And I'm a person that don't like a routine. So the only event that it's always the same, it's the weekly meetups on Tuesdays. So I try always to organize different things, invite people to speak about different topics as well. So yeah.
I love that you're doing it on a Tuesday. I always feel like that is the dead zone for me. And I'm always thinking like, what can I do? It's Tuesday, Monday, I'm still busy from work. That's great. But also I wanted to ask you about Workations today. I want to jump right into it and ask you, what is a workation and why should remote workers consider it?
So as a hospitality passion, with all this situation of the pandemic and seeing for the past years many hotels closing in the winter, I saw an opportunity on the digital nomads and remote workers market to help the local economy to grow in the winter. And I thought immediately, what can I do to bring people in quantity to the hotel so they could have their structures open? And I thought about the companies trying to connect with people on companies and bring them on workation programs. So we used to heard a lot about team buildings, and now the new trend is the workation, because many offices, they got closed, right? And people need to get together somewhere in the world, and a workation program, it's a great option.
Okay, so because I've never been on a workation, my thought is, do you work during the week, like Monday to Friday, but you're together, let's say in Lagos in the hotel, and are you doing things together at night? Is it an activity every night together, or how does that work?
Okay, so I'm at the moment organizing the first two workations that will happen in February and March, and whatever the company wants to do, if they want to work in the morning or in the afternoon, we do and organize how the company wants. No, there's no certain way to correct way to do it. But I would say that normally people work in the morning and then they enjoy the afternoon and the evening. We have so many activities here in Lagos to do, and many they can do activities related to the ocean, to the nature, trekking. Most of them, they love to see the sunrise and the sunset, like special little moments, but that people started to give more value, especially after the pandemic. And then, of course, bring these companies also to participate in our community events, bring them also to the meetups, and it's a nice vibe here.
Yeah, I love that you can pair the community you've already set up with the companies coming down, because not only are they going to bond with their coworkers in a different way, but also they can meet new people and get some new inspiration. So you've already mentioned a couple of things related to what they can do in Lagos, but why is Lagos a great destination for a workation for someone who's never been there?
It's funny because many people, we talk about this every meetup, and we have a huge holistic community here in Laos, many coaches, many yogis. It's not a startup vibe here. I'm trying to change that a little bit. But I feel that many people come here and they're looking for something, and especially to heal something about their emotions. And most of them, they don't know how they get here or why Lagos. And I make this joke, and it's not a joke. I heard this about a few years ago, that there's many minerals here on our lands. And I don't know if you believe in the power of the precious stones. But I brought some digital nomads with me to a place that they got crazy, and they understood why they are brought to Lagos.
Yeah, it's in the Algarve, but I found, because I have been there myself a few times, it has like you said, good vibes. It has a very different vibe from some of these other cities or towns along the coast in the Algarve. It's not as much, I think, a retiree destination. It has, like you said, there's a hippie community, and there's also so many of these water sports you can do, and such beautiful beaches that you really can get inspired and feel the sense of adventure even when you're in a town like Lagos, and you have the city part, but you also have this beautiful ocean that I think I'm sure being from there has always inspired you and refreshed
Also,
you.
yes, and it's so close to the West Coast as well. They like to go there and surf, and do some trekking. And also they like the proximity to Seville, to go to Seville to have a different weekend, or to Lisbon, only through 2 hours and a half they can visit for 2 or 3 days, because they really give the value of being closer to the nature lately. Yeah.
Do you find anyone that goes on workations? I know you said you're planning the first ones, the digital nomad community or the workationers. Does anyone bring a car, and they can use the car to take other people there without cars to do activities?
I've seen some of them. They brought their cars. I remember just a German girl. But mostly they don't bring a car. They walk everywhere. They don't, and also because the prices to rent cars are quite expensive, because there's a lack of since the pandemic, all the cars, it's very difficult to buy cars now, new cars. So the prices of the rental cars are expensive. So they prefer to walk everywhere or take a Uber, and that's how they manage here.
I have found the center of Lagos to be, there's so many different restaurants and it's very easy to get around on foot, like you said, or take a bus or a train to Lisbon very easily.
It is. Yeah, here you can walk everywhere, and they mainly book their houses in the city center, so they have everything they need in a short walking distance. Yeah.
Okay. Now, when the workation comes to Lagos, how will the meals work? Because I understand they're probably all staying in different accommodation, or like you said, maybe the same hotel if you can get everybody in.
Same
Yeah,
hotel.
how does the
Yeah.
food work? How is everybody getting their meals every day?
It will depend of if the company prefers to stay in a hotel where we will have to have breakfast or half board included, or an apart hotel. I met a guy called Ari. He's the founder of Innate. I don't know if you know these companies organizing workation programs. Not only here in Portugal, but also in Bali and other countries. And they booked a few apartments in a golf resort close by, and they cooked themselves at home some days, and then other days they would get all together to go to the restaurant. So if they have a special self-catering condition, right? They can cook, because also many people, they have their own, one is gluten-free, another one is lactose intolerance. So there's many people, even if it's for a long period, like for 1 month, they rather cook and they know what they're eating. And many people, they are choosing a healthy lifestyle, right?
Right. How long is a typical workation that you would plan?
So like I said, it's according to the company, what the company wants. I have one for 1 month for 40 people now in February.
Wow.
And then I will have 4 days of 15 people. So it depends on the goals that the company sets for the workation.
Yeah. And this could even be more, if it's shorter, more like a team building, like you said.
Yes, a business retreat, or but if the companies come from other countries, why not stay longer and enjoy? Of course, if the employees have family, it's more difficult to do a long workation. I would say maybe 1 or 2 weeks, but most, I think, 1 month, 2 months. There's many Brazilian companies also that want to come for 6 months as well. So
Wow.
because they are traveling from the other side, so it's quite normal. And also because they have this dream to come to Europe, so they want to test first how is implementing a company here in Portugal and working and living here. So yeah.
Now I'm wondering, because you have this unique background of starting the company Eat Like a Local, have you already thought of implementing that into the workation? That could be this really special thing that you can offer in Lagos because of your connections.
Yes, and the Eat at a Locals platform, it's not only in Lagos, it's all over the country. So it's a very nice idea also to, I want to start connecting with the community hosts of other communities, so I can promote also the Eat at a Locals in Porto and Madeira, Azores, because I have hosts all over the country. So I think it's a very nice experience for them, because since they stay for a longer period, digital nomads or companies on workation programs, why not to get in contact with the local culture, right? And meet the locals and have a different experience as it would be with a tourist, normal tourist, let's say.
Yeah, I think that would be great. And even here at Digital Nomad World, I know we're thinking of making some workations around the world. And so we would be excited to reach out to you too. I do want to ask, I don't know how much information you can give, but are the first two workations that you're planning in Lagos, are they companies from Portugal?
No, no. Actually, yes. One, yes, from Lisbon, and the other one, it's not Portuguese. No.
Okay, that's really interesting.
And it's a business school that have students with many different nationalities. So it will be very interesting.
Yeah, I can imagine that that will be a great learning experience for you and for
Yes.
them, because I'm sure there are so many people out there who've never taken a workation and
All
wonder,
right.
yeah, what it's involved.
And
So I'll go ahead.
no. And I find it very interesting to bring all these workation programs with the community. I think it's very interesting because many employees that work on companies, they can start having the feeling that they want to become digital nomads, and that's what happened in this innate group. They were 35 and maybe 5 or 6. They decided they wanted to become a digital nomad. So it's a way of showing people how it is as well to become a digital nomad.
Yeah, and I think from my experience traveling as a nomad, you connect to places, and if you like it, you're going to come back, and you can get this repeat business, maybe a second or third workation, depending on their company, and yeah, really start to build a base from there. So
many people come here to Lagos since I started the community. I have here people that are here for the third time. So they are kind of part of the family, of course, and friends. And we live a very nice family vibe here in Lagos.
yeah, I can say I really love every time I go to Lagos. And now I'm excited to visit your community the next time I go. And we're spreading the news about it here. Now, I know this is an early in the process question to ask because you're just planning your first couple of workations, but do you plan to offer any workations to other parts of Portugal?
Oh, yes, of course. I'm making now a partnership with someone in São Miguel in Azores. I'm a big fan of Azores myself, and I also think that I can help the region to grow and make this difference. And because there's also a special connection between the Azorean people to the Algarve, because back in the days, many people from the Algarve went to live in São Miguel, for example, and many French. So they have a special accent.
I've heard about this.
That it's kind of a mix with the Algarve and the French. It's very funny. People are very authentic in São Miguel, but also other parts of Portugal. I would love to organize a workation program when they on a vineyard, like when they're starting the wine. How do you call it?
The harvest.
When they collect the harvest, and then smashing the grapes as well. I'm excited to organize one of those because it's very authentic Portuguese, right?
Yes, that would be amazing. And you're kind of leading into my next question. How do you think workations, we've talked about the eat like a local and the food aspect. How do you think workations can help the local communities where they take place?
Of course. I think that it is very important, first of all, that the local businesses, they know who are digital nomads, and also what do they need, what they need to do to adapt, because digital nomads are not the typical tourist, right? So they have special needs, and you need to adjust your business. Like I'm now giving consulting to a hotel. They want to receive digital nomads and remote workers, and we are organizing and preparing the hotel and the staff to better understand these new tourists and to welcome them better than like a typical it's difficult. I call digital nomads like the new tourist, and then it's the typical tourist, you know. But yes, of course, first of all, businesses need to adapt, right, this new market, because this is maybe it's not new to Lisbon region, but to the rest of the country it's new. So
I'm curious if you don't mind sharing, what is one thing you shared with this business of how they can adapt? I mean, one thing that comes to my mind is perhaps putting desks in every room, like making sure these hotel rooms, for example, all have nice, not maybe big enough desks, let's say.
yeah, I when they say they want to put desks on the room, I make this question: would you like to sleep and work the whole day in the same place?
For me, I sometimes do, but I wouldn't want to do it every the day, especially in a place like
No,
Lagos.
yes, and imagine that if you're traveling to somewhere out of your country and it's always beautiful and shine outside and it's close to the nature, you want to bring people out of their rooms. They deserve better than working in a room, right? So I recommend them to prepare one of the meeting rooms as a co-working space. Also, it's very important to adapt the rates. Of course, they cannot. I see many houses in a platform called Flatio. I don't know if you know Flatio.
Yes,
It's kind of
that.
the Airbnb. So people, they put the prices like it would be the typical tourist, and they don't understand that, of course, no one is renting a house for 3,000 euros a month. You need to adapt the rates, right? It's crazy if you put the normal, typical tourist rates. It's not right. So that's one of the things: the rates and also the working conditions.
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine the thing that always challenges me when I'm traveling like this is going to that private booth, having quiet, which when you're saying, would you like to work the whole day in your room? No, but I think right now I have to go back to my room for things like that. So if there can be more quiet spaces that are like little booths for just these calls that you have to take, or in a podcaster's example, interviews, then that would be great to not feel isolated so much from my group that I'm on a workation with.
I understand. When I started the community, I also was helping a hotel to build a co-working space inside of the hotel. And I recommended a phone booth because I quickly understand that digital nomads wanted some privacy in some calls. But people here in Portugal have a different mindset. Not everyone, but most. First, they need to see that these clients are for real, you know, and then they invest. They don't put things in advance and then call people. They want to see it's real, and then if they have financial return, they might invest. So it's a bit complicated in that way.
Yeah, I think that's the challenge. And if it depends on the hotel, but I feel like if they could also have a kitchen, like a small shared kitchen space, or have a cafe or something that the breakfast buffet gets converted into, like buy a coffee here. If there's nothing in the rooms, that would be, I would attract people there, I would say, for the longer term as a worker. So.
Yeah, I'm actually curious because tomorrow I'm visiting this hotel that I'm starting this consulting, and some hotels, they are seeing a huge opportunity as well to have guests in the winter, and people here in the Algarve, they are used to close all the businesses in the winter. And the last 3 years, we have been seeing more businesses open, which is amazing. I was actually planning to move back to Lisbon after this pandemic, but I've never been so happy here in my hometown, so I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, that's so great to hear.
It is.
Another important thing I think for Workations, and I'm wondering how you're going to do this, is the connection between the people for messaging while they're there. I mean, I know I can ask for someone's WhatsApp contact or Telegram, but how do you plan to have all of the attendees communicate easily with each other to plan things while they're there for the month or the weeks?
But the people from the company, right? The team
Yes,
members.
the
Okay,
Workation. I
yeah,
suppose a lot of them have internal messaging already,
I think
but
so.
for the business
Mo
school or something coming from many different countries, I wonder if they're already how
yeah,
you would connect people who were coming and not already very well connected.
probably WhatsApp group. Yes, I was having a this morning another meeting with another school that wants to come here to Lagos, and they were worried because this special this school, they are not sending a community manager with them. So I need to
Oh,
be kind of responsible for them. And I said immediately, okay, let's create a WhatsApp group, because kids, they like these WhatsApp. They are not that much into Slack or Discord. So yeah, everyone uses WhatsApp, so I think it's good. And then the companies, they have their internal chats. Yeah.
right. If you already know each other, it's easy. You have a choice.
Yes, yes, of course.
Well, this is really exciting. I can't wait till I take my first workation, hopefully in Lagos with you. I wanted to ask you, I wanted to switch back to the digital nomad theme for a moment. I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
ask you if you could give one tip to a digital nomad, what would it be?
Um, we have some people coming to our meetups on the last day that they are in Lagos.
The
And
last day.
the last day. So I ask them, how long have you been here? And most of them, they say 2, 3 months. And I wonder what these people have in mind, because if you want to be a digital nomad, you also want to meet people that share the same values and the same experiences that you do. But the remote work can be tricky, because if you tend to be a workaholic, it's very easy to stay at home. So one tip that I strongly recommend people to do is to join the community events. Yeah. And look for destinations that have communities. It's very important
Yeah, like you said,
to
you could
have
just go
the
there and maybe attend one event at the end, and then what is the difference between you just traveling alone, you know?
Yeah, we had a few weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago, I was having a chat with this Dutch lady, and I suddenly see a guy coming. He was shaking, and I was like, "Oh my God, what is this guy doing here?" He was freaking out, because also what happens is that people don't join the events because they are afraid to network. They are afraid to meet new people. It's not easy just to go to a meetup and start speaking to people that you don't know. It's not easy for everyone, you know. So this is from Ukraine. He left his country after the war started, and I tried to introduce him to a group. And then we had an event with Julie French, that she was giving some tips how to connect with other people at the meetups if you are struggling with creating deeper relationships or connections, right?
Yeah.
And in 1 week, in only 1 week, this guy's face changes. The next meetup, I was seeing him like smiling and open, with his body open, and speaking to people and showing things on the phone. And I made a video of him. And in the end of the meetup, I said, "Come here." And then I showed him his video, and he was very happy. And now I saw him yesterday in Praia da Luz walking with 2 other friends. So it definitely is not home alone.
Oh, that's such a great story. And yeah, it's an example of like you can go to a meetup and still there's, you can be holding back. So there's these things you have to practice and it will just start to snowball into greater and greater things.
It is. Becky, we don't know each other in person yet, but I'm a very easy person. I talk to everyone since I'm a baby. My mom used to say that I was on the beach with 2 or 3 years old. I would speak to the babies of the other tourists, and also because my family background, my grandmother has a guest house since she started before I was born. So every time I was going to my grandma's house, I was always in contact with tourists. That's where came the guest houses experience. I wanted to have my guest house as well, and then the eat at a locals, because when I went to my grandma's, I was always having meals with tourists. We always had tourists for Christmas as well. So these components have been always part of my blood, let's say. And yes, welcoming, meeting, and connecting people. I think these are my three greatest passions. And with this conversation, I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, I was going to ask you finally if you could share a funny nomad experience you've had in some way, whether it was with the guest houses you had or anything. We always love a good funny story here.
Yes, I think it was 3 weeks ago. I organized a wine tasting event and the title was Wine Tasting and Speed Networking. And they were happy, like they were happy trying the wines. And then I asked the girl, how many more wines do you have? I think this is now going to, I will not have the chance to do the speed networking exercises that I want, because they are getting drunk. And she says, oh, I have 6 wines. I said, stop. It was 3 or 4 wines. And I said, stop. And it was funny because there was this probably English couple. They came already kind of drunk to the event. And I have this exercise that I split the group in 2, and each one of them have to write something extraordinary that they have done in their lives. And then I get the papers from one team and the other, and I switch, and then they have to guess whose story is, right?
Oh, fun.
Yes. And then there was someone reading, the gentleman from the couple, he was reading I don't remember exactly. I did a pole dance with 3 Polish men, something like that. And then he tries everyone in the group except his wife. And then his wife comes like, it's me. So he didn't know the fun fact about his wife, that did the pole dance with many other people.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yes.
amazing. Oh, what a fun event. Yeah.
Yes,
I
it
think you were
was.
wise to stop at the wines that you already had. But
Yes, I
wow.
only could do one exercise with them. I planned 3 exercises, but I couldn't do anything with those people. No, though that was a very funny event. Yeah.
I'm sure that they didn't forget it though. I'm sure they had a fabulous time.
Oh yeah, for sure. When we meet, we always talk about that event. Yeah.
Well, Joanna, thank you so much for sharing about Workations and about your wonderful community in Lagos. I want to ask you, I want to make sure that if people want to follow you, they know where they can go. So where is the best place to follow you and your community?
So they can visit our website, www.lagosdigitalnomads.com. They can sign up our newsletter, so they know all the events that we are organizing on our monthly newsletter. We send the calendar, and then we send each event also by email. We are also on Instagram, Lagos Digital Nomads. We have a Facebook group as well, Lagos Digital Nomads. And then once they are here, they will connect with so many other people that also organize other events. It's not only me, but let's say our events are the ones that start to connect people. They come, they make friends, and then Some they come every week, but others they meet people and then they don't come back, and it's okay. It's the starting point.
Yeah, trying out different places. And if you are ready or interested in trying out Lagos, please follow Joanna and come to the Digital Nomad Lagos meetups and the Digital Nomad community. Thank you, Joanna, so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Becky. Bye.
Bye.